much for the introduction, and no worries about like, well, yeah, you saying butchering my name. I'm really, really happy whatever way you would be pronouncing it. It was really beautiful. But yeah, really excited to be here. Really excited to get to talk to you about this topic. This is actually something that I've been working with, yeah, for quite a long time, couple of years now, and but I yet haven't actually been giving this kind of presentation on this topic. So I'm quite excited to be like seeing how it will go. So as you know, and as you can see, so the thing is, what I would like to tell you about is what goes in the heads of employer branding experts and how to use that to sell your esports brand. I'm gonna open up that topic a bit more once we go forward, but before that, I would like to like, I don't know, tell you a bit of like what I will be speaking about. So yeah, before we actually dive into the details, I would like to tell you like, well, who am I? Of course, in the short introduction, there was already like mentioned like, of course, what I've been doing, etc. But also I like maybe would like to tell you like a bit more in detail, so you kind of have knowledge of what kind of background I have for this topic, so you know from what I'm coming from. Then I would like to go to the actual topic. So how to sell your esports brand to companies. Of course, disclaimer at this point, I'm not a professional salesperson in this sort of way. I've been doing kind of like esports sales in a way, if you can call it that. But it's more of like I would like to know what goes in the minds of the people that do make the decision about whether they would be in sponsoring, if it's an esports brand or whatever. So kind of like that kind of take it into it. And then I would like you to like kind of like show examples how I've done it or how we've done it with Kanaliiga and with CGI. CGI is one of the two main sponsors of Kanaliiga, and so I'm like kind of like giving example on how it can be done. So yeah, I think, and also, yeah, I also wanted to mention that if you have any kind of questions, like, well, of course, regarding the topic, regarding anything else that I'm speaking here today, just like, I don't know, background about casting or anything, please just ask away. I'm really eager and happy to be answering any kind of questions you might have. This is my favorite topic, esports, anything related to that. I'm very, very happy to be answering any questions and having any kind of discussions. All right. So then do my background. So, well, what I've been doing. Well, I'm one of the founders of company league Kanaliiga CS:GO branch. So I'm actually going to be telling you a bit more about what Kanaliiga is in a bit later on when I'm giving the case examples. But like in short, well, Company League, so this is actually, well, the Finland's biggest, and that we know of, it's actually the biggest company esports league in the whole wide world. If you know a bigger one, please let me know. But we haven't been able to find a bigger one. There are like a couple of company leagues in the Nordics and etc. and also in the States. But considering with the amount of players, we have thousands of players and then also hundreds of companies taking part. So yeah, we are the biggest in measuring in that way. So how it started. So for Kanaliiga, in the beginning, it was only for PUBG. So planning for that, and I was actually participating in one of the, well, it was the first tournament. It was, yeah, almost 3 years ago. The time flies when you're having fun. But yeah, then I was like participating in the PUBG thing. I didn't do that well, kind of, and that is well maybe one of the reasons I really wanted to also have this kind of like company tournaments, but with CS:GO. And then I contacted one of the founders of Kanaliiga, Ersipoku, and he did he was really open for me to come and join and kind of like establish the CS:GO branch. And now we're actually the biggest game and biggest tournament within Kanaliiga. There are thousands of players, over 1,000 players in this ongoing tournament as well that we are doing now having, and also crazy amount of companies participating. So we are really happy for that, over 100 teams. Yeah, so that is kind of like my background for that. Then I'm also CSGO caster. So I've been doing CSGO casting for, actually it started with Kanaliiga. So I started like doing it there, but then I've been advancing, doing it for many different kind of as stated here, many different kind of like broadcasters, if you can say like that. So for Telia Esports series, Game Expo, Assembly, Landtrek, and Yle E-urheilu, Yle Esports, of course, but maybe you know what I'm meaning here. But yeah, I've been so happy to have this kind of like I don't know, chance to prove, like, to show that I'm able to do this, and I've been enjoying my journey so far. It's been amazing. I've been able to do castings with several different co-casters, and I've been a co-caster of whom, and it's been amazing, and I enjoy it so much. It's so nice to be sharing the really nice knowledge and just like of esports to everybody who's watching. So yeah, I'm really eager to do that in the future as well. And then also I have several years of experience working in technical recruiting, so, and also in employer branding. So with these, all of these kind of like three things that I do have that I've been doing for a couple of years now, it's like kind of like the base that I'm now like kind of like having, and how I'm like now presenting this topic to you. So I've been working in IT recruitment, and also with that is also being employer branding. So also being making decisions about what the company should invest when they think about how to attract talent. All right. So then to the actual point here. So we in the esports scene, me, and also I think most of you viewers are really much either consumers, or you are students, or you are like maybe have or thinking of having your own esports brand, team, whatever. So we know the undeniable potential of the industry, what it offers for sponsors. But I think the issue for many, it is how to present it to a person who knows literally nothing about it. Because I think that we in the scene, we are really excited about what is going on and stuff like that. But when we try to speak about it to people that are not in the scene, so I think we actually do have a lot of difficulties in how we can like share it, like what's going on, because we also we have a lot of terminology that people do not understand because they don't follow. So I think that is kind of like the key points we have to keep in mind when thinking of how we communicate and how we do sales. So yeah, as stated, it is easy to forget. We often live in a bubble, really nice small esport bubble that we have. And I think when thinking about your approach, when thinking of when you're like making your sales plan, what you should do, of course, there are many things you should do, but these, I think, with this approach are the main things. So you should know what is the customer's goal. I'm using the word customer, but the company's goal. And also always assume customer has never heard about esports. They have negative assumptions about it. And I don't know, I think maybe that this is a no-brainer for many people. But for me, for example, just the term esports is so self-explanatory for me that I've made the mistake of many times that people would actually know what esports means. And I've been like, so it hasn't happened. It has happened many more times than once or twice or three times that I've been like telling a person that, yeah, I do esports casting, like esports commentating. And they feel like really that they seem like really puzzled. They're like, what is that? And when I explain, then actually many people have told me that they thought that I meant the gym, esport gym, because actually in this Helsinki, I live in nearby Helsinki, so there is this gym called Esports, which is I've heard it's like a Espoo sport, like the gym, and it's already like founded in the I don't know, the 90s or something. And that is what actually many people associate when they hear esports, and then they think of that gym, and they feel like really, I don't know, really like puzzled about like what I'm like actually speaking about. So it's just like an example what can happen, and people actually do not have any clue what esports even means. So we have to take that into account when making sales, or just like spreading the really nice, I don't know, information about esports. We have to start from the really scratch and just like explain from the really beginning. Um, and also because, of course, when making sales and when talking about esports, it's always that you have to start from what is the company or the potential customer or the sponsor, what they want. So, because that is a really wide picture, and we have a limited time here. Also, that I'm not an expert of all of those approaches, but so I'm gonna be speaking from this example that I do feel that I really do know much about. So, companies that hire people with technical background. I think that is one kind of like potential sponsor segments. People within esports that do think of like selling their brand, their team, or whatever. They should really take these companies also into consideration. So, for information, there is huge competition for talented IT experts in the Finnish job markets, and it'll only get more fierce. I don't know if you've heard of it. If you have, I can guarantee you within the couple of years, it will only get more fierce. And it's already like there is a huge battle for that. And these companies that really try to attract this IT talent, they just really want to find a way, because they've already tried so many things, and they want to be one step ahead from the competitor, which is the another company that is doing the IT recruitments. So they want to find new, fresh ways on how to attract talent. And if you can prove that you can help them to reach these talents, of course, you don't need to be like, oh, I will solve all your problems kind of a thing. But if you can do your part, like partly help them to reach these kind of talents, I think you get yourself a sponsor. So that is really a thing we can work with it. We know that there is a high demand for this kind of I don't know, yeah, coverage. Yeah, I kind of in the beginning promised that I would tell you what goes in the mind of the like employer branding expert, and what is even employer branding. I don't know if you know. I probably you do, but it's like usually when you would be talking to a company in sales, when you're doing sales, you would be I don't know, talking with the person that is either responsible for the talent attraction for employer branding. That is kind of the same thing but with different kind of name for it. And so you should really consider these things when you talk to that person. So the first thing what they're thinking of is this: how this helps us to attract the hard to reach talents. That is the problem they have. That is the problem they want to have a solution for. So when you do have the talks, please, you should have the answer there, like really fast, within like really in the first contact that you make, you should have the answer for. And I will be showing you later on how we've done it with Kanaliiga and CGI. But there is, of course, many ways of this, depending on your own business, depending on the company itself, the customer company. And also, what is Twitch? That is also something like, well, as we could like easily assume that esports, everybody knows what it is, because everybody literally they do not. Also, Twitch, it is like a platform many people outside esports are just like who consume game, who are players or who consume like gaming content, broadcasts. They have no clue what Twitch is. So that is just like one example you should like really take into account when you're speaking and having to talk. Just like explain everything. And also these parts. Of course, I'm using a CSGO as an example because that is that is what I'm like the most close to and always working with. But like they're talking about terrorists and mobs and strategies and how to kill, etc. Is it bad PR to be involved in this? And this is actually also what I made a mistake in the beginning, because for me, CS:GO is like highly tactical team game, and like killing is not even. I don't really see the part because I see the strategies and I see the different kind of like responses people have, and the killing is not like the thing that I even see there. But I can, of course, understand when a person that has never heard about the game has no clue about the game, and then they see a clip out of it. It just seems like people are shooting each other in the heads, and they are like, "Is this a good thing?" And it's of course a good question. But like how I kind of approach it is like I will explain it from the beginning that it's a technical team game, and I think it doesn't really. It's not no different like to normal sports. Like there is, of course, there is boxing, there is like I don't know wrestling. I don't know. There is also like sports shooting and stuff like that. So that is also that kind of like a thing that personally I think it doesn't like is no worse than the gaming that we have here. And also actually in boxing you do hurt the person. In CS:GO and in any other gaming you don't really like physically hurt. So of course that is a discussion. So I don't have like a perfect solution for this, but just take this into account. How much will this cost and what we get in return? This is something we will cover a bit later on, but for information, this is also something they will have from the start. Also, what you should answer from the very beginning. So you should have different kind of options, etc. And then also, how do I present this to my manager? Because usually when you have the talks with the person, they are maybe not the ones who are making the decision. They will need to present that to their manager who gives like the yes or no kind of a thing. So please help them kind of like provide this offer, whatever you have, what do you have to provide. Please share that to them so they have easy time to like present it further. All right, so how to actually do it? Of course, as I already told you, it depends on the company. It depends on your business. But it all comes down with the careful planning, always. Showing easily understandable data. Data is the thing, boys and girls. But it's like so you can prove that what you are selling is really true. I will also come to this a bit later on. And also when you make an offer, present practical examples. This is again the data. And also you should be able to show what actually means that if they would be sponsoring you, what do they get in practice? You shouldn't like, yeah, you get a logo there and there in Twitch. Maybe show a video. Maybe if you don't have a video, then a screenshot of like how it looks like, because they have no clue. They've never been to Twitch. And also the person who you're in talks with usually needs to present the case within the company, make it easy as possible for them. That I also already kind of covered earlier, but like making a point there. All right. So now what I would like to do, I would like to kind of like present to you an example how to do it. This is like one way of doing it. It's not perfect by no means, but also I want you to like kind of like, I don't know, show how it could be done. So you could have like an idea. So case example, surprise Kanaliiga. Already told you in the beginning, world's biggest company sports league, thousands of players, hundreds of companies participating. We've been up and running for almost 3 years now. Like Kanaliiga, it was actually, I think, founded in August. And the CSGO part that I'm representing, that was a couple of months later. And then it was like, 2.5 years ago that we had the first tournament. And so PUBG was the first one, then CSGO, then we also have Rocket League, Dota 2, League of Legends, Overwatch, Apex, and NHL. Different kind of topics. CSGO and PUBG for sure the biggest ones. Also want you to know that it's operated by volunteers, such as me and many other people. It's a beautiful community. Love to be part of that. But with all of this, Of course, we have also struggled to be finding sponsors, even though I'm really happy that we have some. But one of the biggest obstacles Kanaliiga has faced when trying to find sponsors is that many companies still seem to think that esports and gaming is only for the younger people. Because, of course, when the problem for the companies that I'm like giving now example, that they are trying to find I don't know, get the IT talent, usually they are 18 or 20 years old or like older. And they're thinking like, why should we sponsor esports when it's only for kids, you know? So of course we had to prove them wrong. That is like the thing here. And as you know, I don't want to be talking that more much about that because I believe that we do know it has been proven in countless studies. Gaming is a hobby for both sexes or all sexes and all ages. It is just so clear for everybody in the esports and gaming community. And so even though the popularity of gaming has been widely known for years, it is still extremely underused by companies. And the potential for standing out is huge. And this is something the companies that do IT recruiting love, because of course they are battling to find these people, reach them, try to recruit them, and then they are taking these kind of really many measures for that, and then also their competitors are doing those. But what they want to stand out, that they do something else that the competitors do not. Esports is one of those. So so then we have to prove how that goes. So of course there wasn't available like data or any kind of that for to really prove that IT personality, IT people, whatever, that they do like esports, they do gaming. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to prove it because we kind of knew it, but we didn't have any data for it. So what we did, we had this kind of like questionnaire. We made a like research thing for Kanaliiga to show that Kanaliiga does reach the mid and senior level IT consultants that many companies had hard time reaching. So the results of the questionnaire is that 88% of players in Kanaliiga are ages 25 to 40, which is quite high. The majority was between 25 and 30, or if I remember correctly, yes. And yes, and then also they are quite high in like their what they have like educational level. 69% have at least a bachelor's level degree, and then 56% of all of the players, they work in IT industry. So as in Kanaliiga, there is in the community currently there is 2,800, if I remember correctly, people. So 56% work in the IT industry. Quite a nice coverage there. And also 73% have higher than 40K annual salary, which is more than average in Finland. So from that, we can kind of like connect the dots that they are very much in the mid or senior level in the IT consultancy. And also 83% of players, they thought that company esports league is very important for them to exist. Of course, well, these are people that do play in Kanaliiga, so of course this percent of course it warms my and our hearts in Kanaliiga organizing, but I think it's still quite high, as they are saying it's very important, so more than 4 or 5. So I would say that then if there would be a logo or a sponsor for this kind of activity, then they would really much appreciate if a company does it. And then I think, the end result would be very positive for that sense. So I would like to present to you the case example on how we did on CGI. So the ones that do not know, so CGI is an IT consultant house. It's Canadian, but really in worldwide. There is over 70,000 people working for CGI, and in Finland it's a bit less than 4,000, but still a huge IT consultant house. So what they wanted to do, they wanted to reach the hard to attract candidates and keep current employers employees actually, okay, there is a typo, employees happy by offering benefits that are not found elsewhere. So how we started, together with Kanaliiga, CGI created an in-house esports tournament where CGI members attended by playing and watching the streams. The final was a big event held in CGI Finland HiQ in Helsinki office, a year ago. Just I think it was like a week before Corona did kick in. Good times, yes. Do you remember when people still were allowed to gather together? I hope that will be soon enough also now. But yeah, it was a really, really nice event. I will have a couple of pictures of that a bit later on. But yeah, that is how it started. And the feedback from employees and stakeholders was so positive that then in a couple of months in June, Kanaliiga and CGI, they signed a 1-year collaboration agreement, which ensures that both CGI's broad visibility in esports area and esports related benefits for CGI members. So so that means that CGI is now one of the 2 main sponsors for Kanaliiga. And here a couple of pictures from the LAN tournament final that we had. I can tell you the atmosphere was amazing. There were lots of people, seeing the finals. It was really, really nice communications that we had there. Talks with people that has never heard of anything of esports, but they were eagerly hearing about it. And it was just, it was perfect. It was so much fun. And yes, so after that, they kind of really helped, of course, to get the deal in the end. But this was kind of like, I don't know, building the trust with the company. Like we were able to organize this event, and it went so beautifully, and we get so good feedback from everybody. So that I really think that this kind of service is not only for CGI, but would be also for many other companies, if there would be resources to be organizing this kind of stuff. So in the end, how we managed to get CGI as a sponsor. So of course, enormous help. A person inside the company that knows about esports, because the struggle when you do esports sales is, of course, that when you're selling something that the company does not know about, nobody in the company, if they don't know about it, of course, they're really suspicious. They want to know what it is. So, of course, that was a huge help. So I don't know if we would have been able to do it without it. But it's just like showed me that if there is even one person within the company that is like really knows about it, or maybe they have well informed about it, then it's so much easier to kind of like get the deal. So if that company do not have this kind of like esports professional, whatever you call it, just a person that is like interested in esports, then you should kind of like try to aim to just gives this like kind of like info package to a person so they can learn about it, and then kind of like spread the info about esports to other people. Then also statistics to support the decision making. So as I showed you, that was like one part of the statistics that we could provide, but also like statistics on like kanaliiga.fi, then also Kanaliiga TV, which is the Twitch channel, how many viewers, how many CSGO games, because the part of the deal that CGI logo will be shown in every Kanaliiga CSGO server, etc. So those kind of statistics. And then, of course, also practical examples, which is kind of like related to the things that I already told you. So that is kind of like only one example how it can be done. I cannot tell you enough, like that is only one example, and that is like one way you can be approaching it, these kind of companies. But also what I want you to know, that once you get yourself a sponsor, of course you are so excited that you get it and you're like, yes, now we're gonna rock this. But I do also know from a personal experience and from what I've heard around. It is also kind of like after that easy to forget that now you got the logo there, or now you got this kind of partnership or that kind of partnership. Then it's like, yeah, kind of forget and now then you move on. But that is kind of like a start of the partnership that you have. So you should really focus on like really just like um, building the partnership that you have. So provide monthly or quarterly, whatever reports, what has happened during the sponsorship and how it has benefited the said company. So I don't know, data about if you have a Twitch channel and if they have a logo there, then data about that. How many broadcasts you've had? Have you been in any events? Have they had the coverage there? Any kind of data you can provide it, tell them. So they feel that they're getting the coverage, because like that kind of like builds the trust that they see that they are really like showing. So of course, because they will be reporting forward in the companies, they always like when they have this cost, of course it's a cost for the employer branding budget. So then maybe they do it quarterly or yearly or whatever. They will like kind of reevaluate which partnerships they want to keep on like doing. And if they already have data, but they've got from you, it is so much easier to continue the deal. So, of course, as you want to be building your brand even further up, you want to have long-lasting partnerships. So this is also what you really should take into consideration. And also, just wanted to mention you what CGI has already benefited since starting to take part in esports. So just like a couple of things like, yeah, CGI regularly asks feedback from their customers in different projects. Kanaliiga partnership that has already been mentioned in several times in very positive light. So they know that they have an impact for their customers, which is enormous thing. And then also in company employee survey, Kanaliiga was mentioned several times as one of the best new initiatives. All right, not gonna try to pronounce that. All right, CGI has done for supporting employees, free time activities, and integration to workplace culture, which is enormous again. And as you know, as I mentioned, there's 4,000 people CGI working in Finland, so that kind of affects many people. And actually, CGI is the biggest like participant-wise. If I remember correctly, it's not this season, but the season before there was like, was it 5 CGI teams within Kanaliiga CS:GO? So that makes the CGI the biggest participant within Kanaliiga CS:GO, at least, like out of all the companies. When CGI recruiters source candidates, the Kanaliiga partnership is often a topic of discussion when talking about company culture and supporting the employees' hobbies. So also when attracting the new people, the problem that they want to solve, they've seen the change. It is of course not enormous, like everybody is now like, yay, let's come to work for CGI, but it's just like one of the solutions they can now have. All right. So to conclude here, so whatever you're selling and whatever is the customer here, just try to know enough about the company, the customer, and know what is their goal. In this example, it is to attract IT talent. That is the problem we're solving here. Approach them with a solution with practical examples. In this example that I'm giving, it is with data. If you have like, data, different kind of surveys you can do. If you do not yet have the data, you can always, like if you already have some kind of like viewer base in your Twitch channel, for example, you can do a survey there. Anything you can create to support your presentation that you're giving. Just create it. Be easy to understand, explain. So many titles that we think that are self-explanatory often are not. So do communicate in a way that the receiving end won't feel stupid themselves. That is like the last thing you want to do. And once you get a sponsor, that is only the start. So also that is like, I don't know. I do see that as part of sales, as you're like maintaining the partnerships there. But yeah, do kind of like try to see that a start, not like kind of like a finishing point kind of a thing, and do try to like build longer relationship there. All right. So I've been talking almost 40 minutes. Oh my God, but it's been really nice. I want to thank you for your time. So my name is Laura, Lapa, also as they call it. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter with Lapa Fu. Do add me on LinkedIn. If you want to chat about anything, just add me and do come ask everything. I always want to be, I don't know, involved in different kind of new esports thingies that happen. So do contact me if you have like any, I don't know, questions or any comments or whatever. But yeah, also now it's time, I believe, for if you've had any questions, we are going to be continuing here. So yeah, done with the presentation.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, Laura. Just a quick reminder to go into the Discord chat, so I'll be able to hear you as well. That was a lot of very valuable information, even for the rest of the team here at KAJAK Esports. I know we valued that very much, so thank you. And for anyone interested in watching that again, or if you happen to miss the full presentation, these will all be available on our YouTube channel, VODs, after the event, so make sure to watch there as well. Once again, thank you very much, Laura. And if anyone has any questions left after the presentation, please feel free to ask them now. I have one coming in first from Spoke. It says, what are the key tools for improving an established partnership or sponsorship in esports?
All right, so I have to actually think. So improving already established sponsorship. All right, so I think the key point there would be kind of like knowing what your partner wants you to like provide. So of course, it's a communication thing. Do ask questions. Do ask like, what are you happy with this kind of partnership that we have? What would you like to have more? So do have this kind of like a communication and not just like kind of like, well, do have like an open communication. So it wouldn't be in a way like, yeah, well, let's be in touch within like half a year and then you just do your thing and then you're not talking. Just like establish kind of like maybe monthly kind of meetings, just like catch up, do provide the information, then also ask what you would like to have more. Keep it like active kind of talking. That I would say, yes.
All right, perfect. A message from Neilani that says, thank you for the great presentation, and also from Izik1, nice presentation as well. If you guys have any questions, make sure to type them in the chat as well. But we have a few that were submitted previously by our followers on KAJAK Esports, so I can jump right into those as well. The first of which is, what traits do you look for when bringing on new members to Kanaliiga or any of the other organizations that you work with? On the business side, when you're bringing on a new teammate or a business professional, what type of traits do you look for usually?
Actually, what do you mean by trait in this?
Well, I guess any sort of element that would be valuable for a teammate who's working closely with you or a member of your organization. More general traits that that apply regardless of what position or role you're taking on.
All right. So if I understood correctly, I don't know if it would be like when member. So would that be maybe when if you would like to be maybe participating in kind of like a tournament, and how would you be able to get your colleagues to be joining? So I'm kind of like trying to maybe answer that question. So of course, just like, I don't know, tell more information, just like share knowledge, just what kind of community it is. Do let people know that Kanaliiga is from the beginners to like really advanced people. There are different kind of like levels that we have. So from the really beginners, from the really advanced pro players that we do have. So it's for everybody. It's kind of like a safe place. You don't need to stress if you are not playing. You think enough, you're not good enough. You for sure are. We will place you in that kind of like level that you are with the kind of like, we have this algorithm kind of a thing that we do for CS:GO, for example, that we can place you in right kind of like level, and then you will enjoy the game. So that would answer the question.
Right, perfect. Thank you very much. We have another question from Neilani. As esports is growing and becoming more popular, have you noticed a change in how easy it is to get non-endemic sponsors?
I don't really think so, at least with the timeline that I've been operating in this, because of course it's been a couple of years, like 2 years, a bit over 2 years. So not in this timeline. I've actually been surprised a bit in way, like, even though we feel it's getting popular, and of course it is, but still it's like really slow. When talking with companies, they very rarely do know about it. So maybe it's in the longer range. Like if it would be like 10, if I would have been doing this 10 years ago, then I would have seen the change. But for now, I'm like not really seeing it yet.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Ilis asks, thank you for the presentation. And also, what do you think are important elements to implement within a partnership in order to provide additional value?
So, but of course, I'm also seeing that beyond analytics, so I can say that brand promotion. I would say also kind of like answer to that is just ask what the partner wants, because like often they do have that kind of like things in their mind that what they would like to do. And so of course you should have like some kind of package you're like trying to offer to them, but always ask questions, and always just like mold it in a way that really serves the company there. But like for example, for the CGH example, they really wanted to like provide more engagement within their already existing employee base, and what they wanted to do is to bring employee activities. And esports is really good even with COVID times. You do play online. Of course, the LAN final was like live, but like they wanted that. Then we generated this tournament within the employees of CGI and stakeholders as well. So that is like one solution, but I think there are many ways of doing it.
Okay. And another one coming in from Neilani. I believe this can be our last question. We don't want to keep you too long. And it is, do you have any tips on how to approach non-endemic sponsors versus endemic partners? So is there a difference on how you would approach those two types of organizations or businesses?
I actually have to ask, because I actually don't know what endemic means. So can you tell me?
Well, endemic, difference between endemic and non-endemic is an organization that is active in the esports space, or for example, Cooler Master selling esports related or gaming related products versus something like Coca-Cola, which is not endemic to the space.
So I think this is more of like when there is like the dividend of these. But how I would approach it is always like really just thinking of like how that actual customer or company would really want to have. So it's not this kind of like dividends that I would do. Like I would do like a really lot of like targeting sales to this one segment that would be like non-endemic. But it's like, because all of those, they do have their own needs. So I would think like individually in a way. And I don't really, I think, the only really huge change that I would have is that with non-endemic, I would be really explaining from scratch what esports is, and then moving forward, when with endemic, you can kind of go in more detail in the starting conversation. That is like the only difference I would kind of have.